What's up guys, my name is Fran and once again, welcome back. And in this video we're going to be answering that age-old question, to build or not to build? Or rather, is it still worth it for you to build your own custom PC? The answer to that in just a moment. Not too long ago, a really good friend of mine dropped me an IM. He was looking to build a gaming PC for his little brother and wasn't sure what he should be purchasing, so came to me for some advice. Naturally, I was filled with excitement upon his request. I quickly ran over to PC Part Picker and started to put together the best bang for your buck AMD Ryzen build you could find. While I did feel like I did my best when it comes to picking out the most cost-effective parts for this particular build, I did find myself going over his $800 budget. While I sat and contemplated recommending to my good friend to check out the internet for possibly some used parts, I then remembered an advertisement I had seen earlier in the week in my email. This particular advertisement was coming from BestBuy.com. They were advertising gaming PCs. Now for me personally, I've never been one to recommend or pick out a pre-made gaming PC, especially coming from a retailer like Best Buy, but I did find this one to have a pretty decent price tag on it, so I figured it would be worth checking out. This particular computer that I ended up picking out was made by a company called CyberPower PC. Now you guys may or may not have heard of them, but they are a system integrator, making PCs out of off-the-shelf parts, certifying them, and then selling them in retail stores. So before recommending to my friend that he go ahead and pick up this $650 pre-built computer, I decided to pick it up for myself to make sure it was actually worth the money. So what are you getting for that $650 price tag? Starting off with the motherboard, you are going to be getting an MSI B350M Bazooka motherboard. Now because this is a B350 motherboard, that means this is an AMD Ryzen platform. And that brings us to our CPU, which is an AMD Ryzen 5 1400. This particular CPU features 4 cores clocked at 3.2 GHz. As far as the system memory goes, it does come with 4 GB of GAL Evo DDR4 memory. When it comes to the storage, it does come with a 1TB 7200 RPM Seagate hard drive. As far as the graphics card goes, it does come with an MSI Armor OC 4GB RX 580. And housing this powerhouse of a system is going to be a Fantex mid-tower case. Now this particular case does feature a fully tempered glass side panel, RGB LED lighting, 2 case fans, one flowing air from the front of the case while the other exhausts air out the back, and overall just a pretty decent design. It does seem like it does have room for expandability, giving you the ability to add more 2.5-inch drives as well as 3.5-inch, but overall I think the case is pretty decent. And of course, naturally the next question is, how does this $650 computer perform? Well, I'll throw up some numbers compared to my Wally i7-7700K system, as well as my all AMD Team Red Ryzen build, even though I want you guys to keep in mind that of course these numbers are going to be completely askew, as these systems feature faster processors, as well as SSD hard drives, and also different graphics cards. As we can tell from a lot of those benchmarking numbers, the CyberPower PC paired up with the RX 580 as well as the Ryzen 1400 CPU definitely does crush it when it comes to those lower end games. But as we can tell, when it comes to more higher end AAA titles, it does start to fall behind. But given the fact that we could even fathom upgrading this particular system to a 1080 Ti in the future is something that's really worth looking forward to. So considering this system is only $650, there are a handful of upgrades that I personally would do to the system if I was picking it up for myself. Upgrade number one, I would definitely upgrade the storage hard drive. Now while it does come with a 1TB Seagate hard drive that runs at 7200 RPMs, me personally, I'm too used to SSD speeds. So I would add an additional either 128 or 256 GB hard drive that would house my operating system. That way things can load a lot faster, and maybe I'd put some of the applications I access the most, like maybe Photoshop or Adobe Premiere, and put them on the SSD. That way it just runs a lot faster. Next upgrade I'd make is to the actual memory. Now while 4 GB is probably okay, personally I feel a little bit more comfortable with 8 GB or 16 GB just to give myself a little bit more headroom. And finally, I would upgrade the cooling on this system. Now, while the Cooler Master CPU cooler that comes default with the system probably does do a pretty decent job, for me in particular, I like the aesthetics of the AMD Wraith cooler, so I'd probably go with something like that. Keep in mind that none of these upgrades are necessities and the system works perfectly fine with or without them. Well, it's time for the verdict. To build or not to build? Or is it still worth it for you to build your own PC? Well, if we're talking money and money alone, in all honesty, that $650 price tag is really tough to beat. I mean, I really can't think of any situation or scenario, unless you're getting heavily discounted parts or even used parts, that you could beat that $650 price tag with similar components. Also, when you go ahead and purchase a computer like this one in particular, you have the opportunity of purchasing a warranty that's going to cover every component in the computer. And in the event that anything happens to it as far as the hardware goes, you then have the opportunity of upgrading the entire computer, and that can also be pretty exciting. But if you ask me personally, I will not stop building my own custom computers. I liken it a little bit to fast food versus a home cooked meal. Yeah, they both will get the job done, but one just feels a lot better, preparing your own meal, preparing your own computer. You have the ability to customize it as well as do other things like make it look really pretty. I'm talking about computers, not food at this point. But I guess you can say it applies to both, right? And for all of those reasons, I feel like it's worth the extra money. But what are you guys' thoughts on this subject? Do me a favor, let me know in the comment section below. Also, write down there if you like this video and you want to see more like it, slam on the like button. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, take this opportunity to hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell notification so you guys know when I come out with my latest videos. Once again, guys, my name is Fran. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one.